Welcome to Business Brains, a platform I created based on being an entrepreneur and business you are interested in based on a matter of importance to you. Well, here is the next part based on Chris, the property master, going into the attributes of a property empire. Enjoy.
You have property doors open.
Yes.
Many doors open.
Because the bricks and mortar, as they say.
Yeah, and it's easier to then get into other things. So for me, the drive was always been, all right, I've got one, let me get another one. And at the point it was easy. Yes, I could probably tomorrow look at thinking, oh, well, let me find another place. And now you've got kind of sown that little seed in my head.
Yes.
It might be something I might look at. I might even look at.
Not there. Do you know what I mean? As you said, you're thinking about, down the line of your nest egg, and potentially you could pay these all off with just one property, but
yeah,
let me entice
or one and a half, because at the moment I'm in the process of actually using my work now and my salary now to reduce one, which I could reduce in a couple of years or in a couple of months, with savings and things like that. So in the end, I'm looking to be mortgage free on one.
Wow.
And start looking to be mortgage free on two. So then you can see how easily it then becomes if you sell one, actually you've got one already mortgage free, you sell one, you've still got three.
Yes.
Well, four.
It's definitely something to consider. The next thing I was going to ask you, based on the back of what you're talking about, in your opinion, can anyone do what you're doing? What attributes do they need to do what you've done?
They've got to be able to be instinctive. You've got to be able to take on risk, not to be too risk averse. You've got to be able to see the long game, not the short game. Because you got to have trust. The financial advisor was always saying long game, long game, long game. Don't worry about it. And 25 years ago, he was looking long game. You see, that's miles away. But 25 years have come and gone. Plus, yeah. So it is about having trust. But I think the main ingredient is the ability to take risks.
Yeah.
All of this is a risk.
Definitely.
It's all based on risk.
A risk worth taking. I think it's just amazing.
And I think my demeanor is that I'm a risk taker. Someone said don't go that way because I'd still think, okay, what's the risk? Quick risk assessment.
Yeah.
I'll take that risk and do it. Whereas a lot of people are risk averse. And a lot of people think, oh, what if this, 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 of that. And if you do that a lot, you don't generally not so much progress. Everyone progresses, but if you do that a lot, you then find yourself in a situation where everything's done everything is very much pre-planned.
Yeah.
A lot of my thing was spontaneous. It's that spontaneity that you need as well. Suddenly, an agent might call me, oh, Chris, there's this house going up for sale. I don't want to get myself in debt. Rather, I just say, okay, where is it? I'll come have a look. Okay, call up the financial advisor. Right, He'll go, right, okay, rob Peter to pay Paul, blah, 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 blah. There you go, there's your deposit. And it's there. Can I get tenants in? Yes, you can get tenants in because you've got tenants before. Yeah. And the other thing is that with all of my properties, they're very much within a less than a mile radius.
Oh, cool. Of one another?
Of one another.
Oh, that's good.
In fact, I've got two on one street. Wow. There's two on one street. I don't know why I did it like that. It's just like I remember my guy saying, "No, don't have all your eggs in one basket." But at the time, I just thought, well, why would I go all the way to Plaistow, then travel all the way to South London, and travel all the way to North London?
Exactly.
Whereas I can just do a round robin. And I've done it many times. I mean, the gas guys and the other guys, utilities guys who have to come annually, sometimes laugh. Oh, okay, it's just here. Oh, it's just there. Oh, you just got across over there. You know.
So what made that person
also,
say all your eggs in one basket? What made that person say not to have all your eggs in one basket?
Because as a financial advisor, I guess he's also looking at risk, and sometimes obviously having all your eggs in one basket is risky. But if you have things spread out, it's less risk. But mine aren't necessarily. He was happy with the way it went, because what I was saying is like, well, you know, a house. What it was is I was very confident with the area and very knowledgeable of the area.
Yeah.
And very much aware that it's a rental market area, because there's a bit of a stepping stone. You tend to get people come in, buy the property, 2-3 years, maybe have one child, then move on. But what's happened now is that you've got the EU, Brexit, and then it's an area of transition, but that transition has now become very much stationary. So people coming in, they're renting.
Yeah.
The demographics is mainly renters as opposed to homeowners. There are a lot of homeowners, but there are also a lot of renters, or there are a lot of landlords who are renting. So you walk about, drive about the area. You don't necessarily see for sale signs on every street. You don't. People are happy to come in there, especially a lot of Europeans, Eastern Europeans are happy to come in, rent somewhere with a hope to buy somewhere. But my tenants essentially, they're long term. It's not so easy now to go and buy something.
Yeah, very difficult.
And I think you mentioned a question earlier that, what would you say to other people who want to do this? I would say you're gonna have to work twice or thrice as hard as I did, because it's not the easy bit. The easy bit is letting the property out, is renting it.
Yeah.
The hard bit is convincing the bank that you can manage it.
Yeah.
Loan to value, this, that, and the other. It's convincing the bank that, in the event there's a problem, tenant can't pay the rent, you can cover it and cover your own stuff, whatever you do. So that's the hardest bit. So I've got tenants who all day long, what they're paying in rent, the mortgage would be, half. And they know they can cover it, but they just don't have all the right paperwork or all their ducks in a row to satisfy the banks, money lenders, etc.
Yeah.
Because this is not their ordinary residence, their domicile. They don't, they're coming from another country.
Yeah.
They can't do all the checks. Some of them might not be paid into the proper national insurance or tax systems. All sorts of reasons.
Yeah, that is a bit shame.
For them people, it's easy to rent. Maybe jobs aren't. What's the word? Jobs aren't secure.
Yeah.
This, that, the other. So they rent. So I was always aware that area is a good rental market area. So I didn't feel the need to go and chase other areas.
Yeah.
I was more than happy with that area.
Cool. I mean, you kind of answered the next question I was going to ask. You sort of answered it earlier, but I'm more thinking about, let's say someone wanted to replicate you, because this is going out on YouTube. People are going to learn from this. I was going to ask, do you need lots of money to start?
No. However, so really, maybe that question is in two parts. Did you need lots of money to start? I would say I would say no, but then I would say yes, but it's relative. Because 11 grand today is not what 11 grand was 25, 30 years ago.
Okay.
So on that basis, I would say then you needed a lot of money, but that was relative to that time.
Yeah.
Today, if you wanted to start it, yes, you do need a lot of money.
Okay.
And you need the bank of mum and dad or uncle and
Yes.
auntie or someone. So even like my son's recently bought his own place. I had to give him a kickstart. He stayed in one of my properties when it became vacant.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to charge you rent because you need to know cost of living, etc., etc. But I gave him a mate's rate. Which enabled him to save. He saved and then he bought his own place. Cool. So that again, the power of having a property.
Yeah.
If I didn't have any properties, it wouldn't have afforded me the ability to make him get on a ladder.
Yeah.
On the property ladder. My kids at the moment, if they suddenly want to move somewhere or live somewhere, there's an option to move into one of the houses, pay a bit of rent. Yeah. There's an option to do that. But if you don't have it, you don't have the option.
Yeah.
So today you do need a lot of money, and today is what's crippling a lot of people.
Yes.
Even within my own family, I've got nephews who would love to be on a property ladder, can't because of this, can't because of that, or can't because of some decisions made by parents and things like that. So it is very difficult today, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, I was going to get into that. I was going to get into that about the sort of, Gen X and Gen Z. Millennials, I think, and Gen Z.
Yeah.
When did you learn about the profession? I'm hesitating on that question because in a way you kind of learned through your dad, didn't you? And I basically he's going to say, and how do you keep updated?
So I learned through my dad. A, B, learned through other homeowners, and those with portfolios, those with just one home. And I very much learned on the go.
Yeah.
And I would probably put on the go as the main learning. Because with most things, unless you're doing it, you don't understand it.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing it. And now I've been doing it for some period of time. I mean, strangely enough, I'm a sort of pseudo property advisor in many different ways. Because a lot of people come and ask me lots of different questions. What about this? What about that? What about that? What about that? And I am able to sort of give them support, advice. So mine is self-taught, I would say. Self-taught and just experience gained over the years. In terms of keeping it updated, a lot of it is very much what's around you, very much policies that have been brought in by different governments.
Yeah,
you become aware of. Like I said, in Newham they have a license, so they have a newsletter. I used to get another newsletter about landlords. So most of the things, to be honest, I don't sit down and do a lot of studying in relation to my portfolio or home ownership. But what I do is through word of mouth or discussions with other people, you get learned experiences. Do it this way, don't do it that way. Go here, not to go there. Do this, not to do that. So a lot of it is just experience and being and self-taught. And also, you just got to listen. You've got to constantly be listening to the media, social media, and current government policies that are coming in, policies which are going to change. In the end, most governments want to are tending to be pro landlord, but they know they need to give a good level of support to the tenant.
Yeah.
So we are coming into an era where tenants' rights are becoming more and more prominent.
Yeah.
And generally for right reasons, because there are a lot of landlords who exploit their tenants.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy to say I don't fall into this category.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, if you're exploiting, you'll definitely have you will be in a position where you're having a high turnover of tenants because people won't stand it, or high number of complaints, or complaints to the ombudsman, all sorts of things. You know,
yeah.
when you're you're hardly hearing a mutter from any of your tenants, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
And it also means that you're looking after your tenants because, I recently put up the rent, told everyone cost of living. There was a few ums and ahs, but before I did anything, I did my homework, did my research, spoke to the agents in the area. What does a 2-bed go for house? What does a 3-bed house go for? And when you then confront your tenants and say, look, currently this is what you're paying, this is what you should be paying,
Yeah.
and this is what I can request. However, cost of living, I'm just going to go half. 5%, whatever it was, 7%, and that's that. And most people will just look at that and think, okay, that is fair. And and I'd also give them a 2-month lead time.
Cool.
Not demand it immediately, so they can get used to it. And they're generally happy with that.
And no one complained. They did it in the end. They were ready to pay the increase.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And like I said, if I do believe that you treat someone, it's very simple ethic. You treat someone as people as you would expect to be treated yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Very, very simple ethos I go by. How can I rent somewhere out which I'd never live in? Doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
So again, it goes back to that whole ideology that you have to has to be at a level, at a standard that suits you.
Yes.
If it suits you, it will suit them even more so.
Cool.
Because they're thinking, wow. Because a lot of people have come from place to place, and landlords haven't been so forthcoming with repairs or maintenance. And then suddenly they come to my place, and I always whitewash the whole house inside, paint it white, nice appliances. Everywhere I've got now, I've managed to put built-in cupboards in the bedroom, so you're not constantly putting in new wardrobes, creaky wardrobes. And you just put touches here and there, nice touches here and there, and they like it. And the the whole thing about no news is good news, and no complaints is good news as well.
Totally. Well, you've got a
There's nothing
formula
to
in
complain
place,
about.
so you know the formula.
Yeah.
So, what challenges have you overcome in your business? Because at the end of the day, this is a business. I mean, do you sort of talk about it much if you're working? Do you keep it on a download as well? That you've got these properties, that kind of thing as well.
I only in a work environment, I only divulge to people I trust and are close with. It's not the opening salvo. Oh, look at me, I've got this. No, but the challenges I'd imagine would be initially succumbing to the tax man, which you have to do.
Yeah.
So that initially was like, normally with a single property, it's not so bad. But where you've got multiple, you have to be legit, and I am legit, and that you can walk about holding your head high, not looking behind your back, and not worrying about brown envelopes coming through the post. It's not a challenge, but initially it was a challenge because you're opening yourself up, So you now succumb to the annual tax returns, this, that, and the other, blah blah blah. So, but when you're running a business, so I now have an accountant, I now have a financial advisor. Within that financial advisor, I now have health and medical protection. I have protection for the properties, critical illness, all of these sort of things are additional costs incurred. But that's what, my financial advisor was very much, used to just say back in the day, well, you can't have all of this and not protect it.
Okay.
Yeah. And when you look at it like that, yeah, it makes sense. You've got to protect it. So in the event of anything happening to me, mortgages get paid.
Oh, of course.
Partner gets paid. Children get looked after. Blah blah blah. And it is there. There's times when I look at this is just all, 10-year plan. After 10 years, nothing's happened. Another 10 years. After another 10 years, nothing's happened. You are really paying X amount into the ether, but again, it's all based on risk.
Yeah.
If you didn't, and I fell off my bike, injured myself, couldn't work, blah blah blah, how's things going to get done? So it is a lot of things. And one thing I would like to say and have noted is that our parents and their parents didn't have what we can have today, what kids can have today, and that's information. Yeah? Information. The information is key. Knowledge is power.
Yes, absolutely. I used that term just on Friday. Knowledge is power. Right. Absolutely.
So when you have all of that at hand, you have a lot more ability to do things because there's much more at your fingertips. When I started off, first house, 88, there was no mobile phones, there was no internet, there's no nothing. You relied on that person in Abbey National, you relied on that person there, you relied on this, you relied on that. So today is a very different outlook. I remember one of my parents sold a house and had sort of 80 grand sitting in the bank, and I was trying to advise, simple thing, put it in a high interest account, you get money off it very quickly. No, don't want to do that, don't understand it, don't want to do it. So, and anyway, what do you know? And that being treated as if you don't, back in them days, that you don't know nothing. I was thinking, actually, I do know something. I own a couple of houses, so I must know something.
Exactly.
But those parents were always distrustful.
That's it, because you're younger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, would rather it all be under the mattress where they can see it.
Exactly.
So today is, for me, the key thing is knowledge. Knowledge is power, and so why I'm going with that is that the ability for me to have progressed with this portfolio is very much based on information and knowledge. Yeah. Knowledge means power. And that knowledge for me came from my simple introduction to my then partner's financial advisor.
Yeah.
And I think today, so what I've done now, through that introduction, that's afforded me my current portfolio, but it's also now put my eldest son, on the property ladder.
Oh, that's so
It's amazing. Also put his son, so my grandson, on an ISA. It's also put my two current children on ISAs. It's also now put my current partner on pension schemes, plans, and ISAs. And basically, it's meant that as a unit, myself and my partner, we're financially okay because we've invested in someone who knows more than us, who can then direct us in the right direction in terms of stock, shares, investments. So alongside the properties also comes investments.
Yeah.
And the investments run alongside the property, because if the investments do well, you then have additional funds to pay off monies owed to the bank. When it's time to sell up, or it's time to cash in your investments and say, right, I've got this much in investments, so I can pay off those 2 houses. I'll sell that house to finish off those 2, and I end up with 4 houses all paid off, ready for the next generation.